Finally, I'm on, and of course it's 8:13. So sorry about that. I could not connect, and I kept trying, and I finally restarted my computer, and now we're good. So I'll just go ahead and talk for a few minutes and try to go over. And I started working with some armature, and I wanted to talk about that. And this is on our website, the source of this very kind of bendable armature. And I didn't work on it for the raccoon per se, but I'm going to add some, and these look terrible right now. These stalks have a piece of that metal, and this is a separate piece that can come off. And what I'm going to do is create like a little bit of a cornfield effect. So let me show you a picture of what I have in mind, and I'll see if you can see this up close. See if I can get it to where you can see the little cornfield concept coming around with some corn on the ground. And I got a piece of corn so we can kind of see how it looks. I couldn't get Indian corn yet, but this is going to be Indian corn when it's all done. And so what I'll do is fire up some, sorry about that, fire up some pictures of corn and stalks that have been cut and um, take a look at how these pieces kind of fold back and then just add some of those uh, elements. Of course, the raccoon is far from finished. I'm seeing some major things. You might be seeing some, I'll bring it up close so you can really take a look at this. Some cut marks that I've started to make in this area here. And this kind of goes up a little more like that. So there's some work that has to be done to really get that more raccoon-like. And you don't want it looking like a lion. I thought, what? It's starting to look like a lion. So I have this almost life-size printout that I did of the full body raccoon to kind of get an idea of how corn, whoops, let's get where we can see it, would be sized with this raccoon. And maybe this is a bigger piece of corn than a lot of Indian corn. You know, it's usually smaller, but you can kind of get the idea. This is definitely oversized, but um, I try to measure everything up so that, let me open this up a little bit so you can see everything. So that, um, let's get our raccoon up on the screen here. Um, you're really observing all the time and comparing proportions all the time, measuring all the time. Of course, in your free downloadable guide to follow along, you can continually measure and make sure you're on track. So top to bottom, I'm going to do this again to show people who haven't seen it. Oops, top to bottom. It works with the height of that body. And so I continually check to make sure the proportions are okay. I love the um, video. This is Tito the raccoon, and there's lots of great videos they've done where you really can stop the action and see details that you could not normally, even if you had a pet raccoon, it would be hard. You'd still have to video him and stop the action. So, what I'm going to do is start to create, and this is warmed up clay, it's pretty hot. Start to create, let's see if I get the pictures of the corn stalks that I have here. There's some corn stalks back here, which these would serve as corn stalks. So we'd have pieces coming down from these juncture points here. And then some of them, and if you look at enough pictures, you can see how the stalks are coming down. And some of these pieces can fold back down. Let's see if I can get like right there. So there's a lot of artistic possibilities with these background pieces. And then I've designed it using this armature and these main stalks because I want to take this whole piece off in the back and then mold that separately once it's done so that I have a lot of flexibility with the design. So I have a long way to go, a lot of work to do. I did add the tail. People were probably saying, "Where's the tail?" And I finally added the tail. But, it has to be done so that when you look at a raccoon's tail, let me bring this one forward, and that's not a great view, but the it's not like a horse tail. You have to make sure you make it so that um, the hairs length of the hairs come across. So you don't wanna just go, for example, scraping down like this or make it, lines that just go like that. What you might see that I've started to do is, observe the length of the hair and not so much the pattern. Patterns are often really confusing, but just observe the length of the hair, and maybe you can see this close. I'll move this real close so you can see what I'm doing here. So if you observe the length of the hair on the tail, you can now create like overlapping sections like that and just get this sense of the general overlapping sections lengths. And once you have that done, then you can start to create a little sense of the hair. You can cut back on it. Once you cut back on it, you can take a brush, and I usually put a little alcohol in the brush. But when you go over with the brush, even a dry brush, as you're seeing, maybe seeing, I hope so. Let's see if I can make it much closer. I may have to do a separate video just for this. But when I brush it over like that, even with a dry brush, it softens it and it creates a sense of fur. I'll cut in on that a little bit like that, and then cut in on that a little. There's a great video on textures that you're going to want to watch. But observe the length of the hair because that's a very important aspect of doing this accurately. You can see each hair coming out might be the same length, almost all the way to the end of that tail. So, um, someone was asking, how did I do the arms? Well, Cindy, in fact, who I hoped would have been here, but of course I couldn't get online. But I'm observing the picture first, and then I'm extrapolating from the picture and let's go back to our video, and I'm extrapolating that position based on what I'm seeing in this video. And I'm going to stop it. See those hands right there? If you can get a look at that. I wish in the live stream I had a way to zoom in and out, but I don't. But the reason I'm doing the live stream, and it hasn't caught on yet, but my hope is that I can answer your questions about sculpture. I could just do a video and show it from start to finish in one video, but then that would not help you learn and be able to ask questions. So I've seen a lot of videos that go through showing a sculpture, and wow, that's great. How did they do that? But it doesn't inspire you to think, oh, I can do that too. And that's what I'm hoping to do with these videos. So um, I don't know how long this has been, and there's no one on today because I couldn't get on time. But I hope you have a chance to look at this and start to ask some questions. Think of some questions for Friday morning, and I'll be glad to help and answer them. Okay. Thank you so much. Hope you're enjoying sculpture because it's so relaxing and meditative once you really get into it. Talk to you soon. Bye bye.